always had this beautiful idea of, dominate a creep, dominate a creep, become a bigger boy than you would if you just ate a jungle creep. So this hero can get big in time, but that's the main thing, right? Like being tanky, sure, later on, but you need so many items, or at least you need like Gleipnir plus maybe like a crit or something to feel good. So yeah, it's an interesting hero. We don't see it that much. In the pubs, we see it quite a lot because, of course, pubs are a little bit more back and forth. You normally get to those 2-3 items, Ascadi as well. So yeah, again, this is an interesting pick. Not often seen competitively, but yeah, we'll see how well it operates.
Well, if it does well, we might be seeing more and more of it. But I think this is also a low-skill hero that he enjoys playing. I feel like I remember seeing him play this quite a bit before it got the changes, obviously, with the patch in previous DPC. But
I believe he was, he's the Clinks, and I remember him like Gyrocopter, right? Like I always remember him a bit more of a farming style of carry, but again, it's been some time since I've seen him on like more of the DPC level of games. But yeah,
I think that was the first round of DPC was when was there. It was like the very first one. Yeah, so it has been quite a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, they put Mobai on the Viper again here. So face off with Supreme. And how do you feel about the fact that, they really have to execute well, right? They said that they've got to be very strong. I believe Avery said the green goo, so to speak, within the laning. But should things get a bit later, they don't have that AoE, right? That's really...
yeah, they are going to be struggling potentially later on. But it's the fact that this game is a much bigger difference where there isn't this like structural pressure coming from chicken fighters. So it's easier for Ivy to rotate in and take the fights, right? Like when Viper should dominate mid lane, one support mid with a catapult, that's probably going to be a tower or at least 3 to 4 heroes from chicken fighters coming. So this is so much emphasis on Mobai now in the mid lane and how he kind of approaches beating Supreme, because of course Viper v Void Spirit, Viper should, quite handedly win that matchup and then pivot that into entering the game, because if he doesn't enter the game, Ivy really lacks the ability to like consistently invade jungle, stop Terrorblade farming, push out waves really quickly. Like they need to get the lane set up correctly and the fights going so that they don't have to play, on the back foot, because again, like the previous game, their heroes can't really split push that well outside of Clinks. They, maybe Weaver as well. Like they're a little bit more clunky. So yeah, again, so much emphasis now of like leaving laning phase with an objective in mind.
Speaking of leaving the lane here, down in the bottom lane, that Bane sitting very, very low, completely out of regen on top of that. So he's got to just play back. He's got to wait, which makes things a little bit more difficult for low skill. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this rotation over into the mid lane like you were talking about. Cardi comes up, you have your levels online from Mobai. But the way that Chicken Fighters has been playing this mid lane consistently when they had the Death Prophet even, they were very aggressive. They wanted to make sure that they protected this tower. And it's going to be very important, of course, as well for, the Terrorblade. This is a hero that likes to kind of just have some time to himself in the jungle.
Yeah, and that's why for Terrorblade in top, it's make sure you don't get these like awkward kills that happen. Like for example, Weaver Mars, you can punish Terrorblade, even Ogre if they overstep their mark, especially when Mars and Weaver hit level 3. And it's just when Terrorblade hits 5+, he'll probably go to the jungle, maybe send an illusion to grab a creep wave or whatever. But yeah, don't feed away these early kills and then just allow Terrorblade to hit the beats of farming, because the panel mentioned it. I don't think it was picked that much at Dubai. You know what? I'm gonna check that real quick just for the fun of it. He was picked twice and lost twice. So yeah, it wasn't really a good hero at the previous LAN that we saw in this patch. So that's the product of it needing to leave lane, enter jungle, farm, your Dragon Lance or your SMY or your Manta, then a BKB, a Butterfly, and then you're suddenly, trying to win the game off of an Aegis, right? So that's a lot of steps to hit to get to win a game. And if he can hit them, sure, like this should be a pretty fun Terrorblade game. Just to, A-click down lanes. But again, getting there is the key thing. And
we do have something a little bit different, too, in terms of their draft, right? You've got Zabe, he's playing the off-lane Wraith King. Does that offset, like, the ability for him to, like, have more space? Because you do have the Skelly Boys, kind of pushing out the waves and whatnot, or is this just going to make it a bit more difficult? Because it is a bit greedy.
I might sound really stupid saying this, but I kind of see off-lane Wraith King trying to fill the same role as, like, what a... Again, please, don't laugh at me. like what a Brood does in the essence of aggressively farming jungle and like spawning things to push out waves and like be in your face, right? Like if Wraith King can get in a winning position and then aggressively farm, you steal away jungle, and then you're always kind of awkwardly battering down towers. Of course, it's nowhere near as scary as Brood. You don't really dominate the map as well, but like the essence of aggressively farm and just kind of have vision through presence is kind of what Wraith King can become. And on top of that, you then buy, you know, phase boots, armlet, blink dagger, you're initiating, surviving. So if the game goes even or well, I can see Zibe being really annoying for Ivy, because you're going to constantly be looking to stop the Wraith King from spawning skeletons in bot lane, deal with that wave. So in essence, it's kind of like that style, but if he loses lane, then it can be a really bad hero. That's why you don't often see it as an offlaner.
It's looking pretty good for the start here. Low skill is going to fall to that offlane Wraith King. So yeah, it's got to be feeling pretty good about this for the start.
Yeah, the good thing is, right, if you describe Wraith King as a hero, early damage doesn't really have any, but does have a stun. You pair that with Snapfire, probably one of the best kind of burst damage supports early on with the Cookie and the Scatterblast. You're going to have a recipe for success, right? It's as simple as stun him into then Snapfire spell combo. And yeah, it works out pretty well.
Why is this hero just so
it,
strong? Like, I feel like Snapfire just continues to have like a great just purpose within the game, and that we're not really seeing
because
much
it does everything. It literally does everything. It's got
but why is it still like getting like buffs and stuff? Like I'm confused. Like
it's one of the newer heroes, you know. Valve needs to push the better model heroes so that we don't see
we need more
like,
hats for her,
morphling model more
clearly.
often, you know.
More hats than if we're going to be pushing these heroes that are newer and that are going to continue to stay in the
Now
meta.
I'm looking forward to TI11 because aren't they remodeling every hero that isn't new to get the game up to date and stuff? Isn't that happening? Or
wait, what? I'm sure being trolled, feel like being trolled. Then again, taking a lot of damage here should be survivable though.
Too much damage.
My new plan is just try and farm out of context Reddit clips.
Spread misinformation? Are you like a propaganda machine, dude? What's going on here?
Just helping out, you know, just helping out the good hero model cause. You know, if we bring it up now and again, then suddenly, you know, morphling.
Just tell it to Slacks. Slacks will proliferate the whatever you tell him, and then Bell will be like, oh.
Just send the 2-second clip and we're good. That's it.
But looks like we haven't seen much movement. Do have one person over in this mid lane. Do have the Cardi waves up. But,
unfortunately, they just attempted to eat a mango, but it actually was his dust, so they don't have any detection in bot lane anymore.
That's not as tasty. Definitely.
No, it really isn't.
The bugs are out, though. They'll make their own rotation here over on the side of Ivy, so that'll be a nice kill for low skill.
Nice. Okay, 2k lead for Ivy. This is a pretty nice start. All 3 cores are doing well.
And they're bullying Supreme pretty hard here, too, like in the middle lane. Look at him. Look at... Oh, look at... Oh.
He's dead.
Kibe thought about going in there, too, but he was already dead.
Yep. The key thing here is Chicken Fighters, they haven't drafted a single lane that on paper is going to be like, wow, they're going to crush that lane, right? You know, Terrorblade naturally plays backwards. You know, you farm what you can, you get to like the level 5 mark, and often your hero will be weaker than whatever you're against. You go to jungle. Mid lane, of course, Viper into Void Spirit, and then bot lane, it's Wraith King Snap. It's kind of quirky, but against the Bane, you're not really killing. Clink's ranged hero can step back. So, yeah, Chicken Fighters should, and currently are, going to be losing their laning phase.
Good Max getting into position here, manages to land the spear. Era is nearby too. They're going to try to dip down. Yeah, they'll be able to get the kill on Supreme, following up with a nice arena, and they're just chugging away over here onto Era. Era will be the next one to fall, as they're going to chase after banging over on the backline. Zibe trying to just fight back, but they'll end up losing the Ogre. Are they gonna lose the Zibe too? It's feeling like it's definitely possible. They have a haster, they're bottling up. Chento's even here. That's gonna be the first life down. They gotta kill him a second time. The spear does not connect. So I think Zibe might be just fine here, as long as he doesn't get too overzealous. Does have the Skelly boys joining back in, and they'll poke back a bit. Do have those earn charges up and running, but this tower is going to belong to Ivy, and it's a very different middle lane in this game, number 2.
Yeah, this is perfect from Ivy. You're bringing in both supports, you're bringing in the core who can join the earlier fights, being the Mars, you're allowing Clinks to farm up behind, and you're taking away those early towers. When you saw Chicken Fighters, they're a team that will want to bring numbers to every fight, even if they're behind in regards to like the damage that they have, the farm that they have. They're naturally going to want to enter, and you know, Wraith King, Ogre, under-leveled Void Spirit. Like, this isn't massive sources of damage. So yeah, very much struggling. Maybe, I say maybe as if Era somehow was level 6. Like, a level 6 snap at minute 8, if he had an amazing game, would have probably changed that completely. But of course, you know, we're not living in this
alternate
reality,
universe.
So yep,
The
they are going to be
multiverse.
struggling a lot. But this is good, right? This is like Ivy. This is the best window in the game right now to continue taking these fights, right? Like Terrorblade TPing bottom, they're going to take this bot tower. Will Ivy look to maybe smoke into this bot area of the map, knowing Terrorblade doesn't have a TP available, kill him off, take tier 1 themselves, or yeah, just make moves? That's basically what I want to see from Ivy.
Supreme having a difficult time here, is just constantly getting poked away. They've got the pokes on him, they've got their in charge on him, just trying to make it very difficult for him to get any footing, and it's really paying off. I know that I was passing Fog down the stairs there, and he was like, you know, like, we've got to see these guys, you know, actually play the game. It's so difficult in this first one, and we are now starting to see, you know, why Ivy made it through those close qualifiers. Zibby's Courier gets sniped here, making life a little bit harder, and then gets Courier. So Kibe, the assassin here.
And all of Chicken Fight is kind of awkwardly clumped up here. They're like, boys, do you want to smoke out of here? Are we just going to wait for a fight? Or what's happening?
Vincento is going to walk very forward. Viper Strike is placed over on Tacoma. Follow up with the bugs, a little bit more negative armor here. Cookie hop forward, down over into the low ground to get the Thunder off. Get a couple more clicks into place. The stun gets tossed out here by Zibby. They'll follow up with that arena, but it's just not going to be able to do much of anything other than just zone people out. So definitely feeling good about this engagement if you're Chicken Fires. Zibby thinking about going back in. They have the Snapfire nearby. Again, no level 6 though, no kisses.
Oh, it's like 1 XP away. Get this man a creep. There we go. Snapfire just hit level 6. So overall, that was a pretty massive win for Chicken Fighters because they were able to keep the Terrorblade alive. Nice little cookie into Sunder situation. But yeah, right now this is Chicken Fighters. If they can, this is what they need to do, right? Zibbe needs to be this like awkward Brave King, spend 20 seconds clicking me, allow my Terrorblade to hit a couple creeps behind. But yeah, he did gain a free TP.
There you go. I mean, he still didn't have the reincarnation up just yet. Did have a couple stick charges, but like it's just, you know, he's trying to do what you said. He's putting his body in those awkward positions, right? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, it looks like we're looking at the stick cookie play here. This Era says, open up, hop down, get the Sunder off, easy peasy, Coma's fine.
Communication. That was that. And we don't have to see this part where Max misses the arena. That was just a bit rude.
Well, now you have just gone and drawn everyone's attention to it, so way to go, T.
Don't call me out like that. I was calling him out like that. You know, I was covering it through the...
Exactly. Top lane, though, they do have the Fiend's Griff. They've got the damage on low skill, so they'll get themselves a quick pick off. And poor Supreme. How many times has he died this game? Just because he's been targeted. Yeah, 3 already, like...
Yeah. I was preloaded with that answer. I was like, oh, she's going to ask a death question. Yeah, it's 3 of them. It's... But to be clear, this isn't Supreme's fault. He was against a Viper.
Yeah.
And he has no heroes to play with right now. It's going to be rough. The real question is, how does he now enable his Snapfire to take that big defensive fight that should be happening soon? Aaron might actually die here in bot lane.
He's like getting stuck on some of these skeletons too. Yeah. Get you away. Okay. Just getting shelled here by the Snapfire. So that's exactly how you set that up. Let's keep it. Oh, right to the scatter blast here, Era. Okay, the spear will connect, so they'll get themselves consolation prize. They've already lost 2. They've lost a mid laner. A little bit of vengeance here for the Chicken Fighters who have been consistently trying to find these openings for Supreme, and he's been struggling. How do you feel about him just going straight up for the Ags though, instead of like the Yules?
In this type of game, he has... Okay, let me phrase it. He has no game. So if he tries to go for like the Yules, which traditionally you'd get around, say, minute 15 or so, 16, and then you could pivot to like the 20-minute Ags because you're killing heroes and being in the face. Right now, he's not getting any of that. So if he buys the Yules, it's going to delay the Ags even further. And his job is just to cut through and open up the fight, right? Like, if he gets onto Bane, stop him from gripping. If you jump the Clinks, he can't suddenly start barraging and stuff. So yeah, I like the fact that he's identified his game is somewhat non-existent and that he's going to wait until he has that one item to give his team a way to take a fight. Like, it's just pretty sacrificial mid lane here. Like, he's not trying to play like the greedy mid where it's like, don't worry guys, I need to farm my normal items that I normally buy to be able to play my game.
I wasn't sure if it was a situation too of just survivability, because you know it's the nice thing about Eul's is it fits into a Void Spirit's kit pretty nicely. Oh, the setup though, they baited him. Oh my goodness, that is just a dead Supreme again. But like, you know, the idea of just having, you know, the backup with the Eul's to try to buy yourself a little bit more survivability, and then it also can be used as an aggressive item for the setup. But no, what you said makes sense. Like you don't want to be too far off on some of these item timings either. That always feels bad when you just don't have a purpose, or you're struggling to fulfill that purpose.
It is a struggle. And,
speaking of struggle here, top lane. Yeah. Coma gets the Thunder off, but they have the Fiend's Grip. They're in position. They are ready. They get the kill on Terrorblade. Bengen kind of wandering on through here, but looks like he is going to be the next one to fall. As Kipe just scooches forward. Zibe, they're going in one by one. This is typically not the way you want this to happen, but look at Era. He's just sitting so far back, is managing to get the shells off. Can they take down Zippy's a question. They just kite him. So that's going to be a dead Wraith. Can come back up against Supreme, rejoining the fight now. They managed to get the taunt off. They'll go, follow up the Wraithfire Blast. They're going to try to remove some of that armor, but they're all just taking a bath in all this Nether Toxin, which is not what you want to do. Mobai just standing toe-to-toe here. Low Skill joining into the fight as well. Is going to be able to throw out some of that barrage. Mobai does fall. Kipe, though, will find another kill, and Supreme has just died twice within this team fight. Has gone on that long. Kipe, ooh! He almost died again to a Scouter Blast, but quick reaction will ensure that he survives.
Just the amount of like, I don't know how to correctly phrase it, but like chicken fighters, most teams there wouldn't even want to take that fight because it's like we're so far behind. They've caught our Terrorblade. Let's chill for a bit. But you see how like Bengen throws his body in, Wraith King throws his body in, Snapfire obviously gets the ult off. So it's commendable stuff right now. But again, this is just Ivy doing exactly what they need to do. Pick-off after pick-off. Yeah,
showing signs of life, and that's good, as they'll get another pick-off over here. Era trying to get that D-ward. Did manage to get the D-ward off, but ends up paying with his life.
Yeah, and let's go. He went for a little greedier build, but like just kind of like the standard style of farming, where he's got, you know, the Dragon Lance, Falcon Blade, Maelstrom. You then complete the Gleipnir, and after that, it's kind of, you know, Daedalus, BKB, Satanic style of territory, and then you're just able to get into the middle of the fight and just throw out your spells and have a pretty good time. So yeah, low skill really is just hasn't really had to do much, and that is a great sign for a team when you don't need your carry for these earlier engagements.
I mean, they've made so many moves. Again, not to harp on it, but you know, Supreme has not had the easiest time here. Zibe going right forward though, followed with the Astral Step. Should be a kill split between several of them. So the pressure is on this mid tower. They did fort it up. But again, a little bit more just breathing room in general coming out here for low skill. This does make his way over, so it feels like they might want to try to put some pressure down, but it's just melting too fast with the meta. I don't think they will.
But this right now, the scenario that we're in, it's super on the balance for Ivy, because low skill, when he played his Ember, he got picked off a couple of times after a good laning phase. The way that he's built his Clinks right now, if he gets hit by that Wraith King stun or the Ogre stun on a multicast, Void Spirit Snapfire follow-up, he is going to die quite quickly. So it looks good for Ivy, 10k net worth, but if they cleanly connect, as you see here, every spell together, they can easily hunt to zero any hero. They find the Viper this time, but if next time it's the Clinks, that's suddenly then putting Terrorblade within not 2k distance of net worth, but let's say, you know, 1500, 1000, and Terrorblade equally will be able to like quite nicely outscale a Clinks if you have the lockdown to help the Terrorblade keep the Clinks in the right area to get the right clicks off.
To be fair, though, that was all 5 heroes that he walked into. They get a nice spear off here from Max, but the jump over onto the backlines immediately over to Vincenzo. They'll be able to get the kill. They'll follow up with a 3-man arena, but they need more people there. There's just too much damage. Max is going to fall for this, and Supreme finding himself 2 very needed kills in this mid lane.
Yeah, just nice high-paced Dota coming from chicken fighters. Even when behind, if you find the correct kill, you're able to play with that kind of speed that kind of surprises your opponent, right? And they get the Viper top, instantly into mid, just kind of keeping themselves within the game. Like, I think it is really commendable how chicken fighters have approached the kind of the draft that they have by just throwing bodies into these like kind of weirder engagements. Because even going like 2 deaths to 4 deaths, whatever, it's just allowed them just enough time to get in. But again, we're waiting for Clinks to really show up, because this entire game has pretty much just been 4v5. And yeah, Ivy, of course, are in the lead due to that.
A little bit of poking here in this mid lane, just making sure that they can take out the reincarnation, maybe open a little bit of a window if they find any more opportune moments. But I do like the way the Supreme and Era are now playing together too. I think that it's nice to have that support just kind of babysitting nearby, realizing that, you know, somebody jumps on them. Just having that little extra body can make a big difference. But we do have a Roche going on.
Yeah, Chicken Fighters, they are not aware of this. They don't have scan available. They don't have vision in the area, and they're very much kind of just playing for their farm. So they will be giving away the first Aegis to Ivy, which is very good for them. It's going to give them that, what I mentioned earlier about low skill, he doesn't have the item to survive the jump, and Aegis now fully helps that. Chicken Fighters, they rely on 100 to 0ing a hero in the combo. They aren't really good at doing it again in a second combo, right? They're kind of very much a can't fight style of lineup outside of maybe Terrorblade with more items. So right now, Ivy with this Aegis, the perfect time to show everyone that from game one that they can play with that kind of winning attitude and get themselves into a commanding lead, because this is the best time to do it.
Yeah, I like the realization coming out from Chicken Fighters. They realize, okay, they've got an Aegis there in the top lane. Let's put some pressure on this bottom area and, you know, force out their fortification. Because they really do just burn through these towers. Okay, there is a teleport coming in from Max. I do spot it out. He's having to be careful. Goes through. Doesn't quite manage to land a spear, as the only one in that arena is Bengen. But Kipe clicking away over onto Zebe, and over on the side, they'll get Vincento. We'll follow first off. Era getting clicked down here. Not going to have that Snapfire available this time around. Zebe is forced to go and just teleport away. They have nothing. Oh, never mind. They still have the damage. They'll turn back around. Get the kill on Bengen. Max is hunting. He wants Supreme. Oh, he manages to go and throw the spear over on Tacoma, but don't turn their attention away. They know that they don't have anything to cancel out. Kipe still trying to keep this vision over here on the Terrorblade. Throwing out the bugs, chasing after him. He needs someone else to join in. A couple more clicks coming out. This still does have the Sunder, so you have to be a little bit careful here. But I think they're going to back off of Coma finally. And as I said, Kipe's still going, but nope, sees Supreme, says, yeah, nah. Maybe getting a little bit too solid. But they know Supreme's there, so the question is, do they try to make something happen off that?
Nah, and yeah, the Mars doesn't have any mana, so very much Supreme. He's looking pretty good. See at the start of this fight, the fact that Chicken Fighters, they forced a fight in bot lane. Ivy could have maybe just stayed top, but they actually go for it bottom. Max, he does miss the arena initiation, and it looked pretty bad to start with. Bane dying instantly doesn't allow you to have that kind of grip lockdown to kill off the Supreme and whatnot. Mobai coming from the top side really kind of drove that wedge into the lineup of Chicken Fighters, and it was just mode retreat. And the thing here, Voicepro gets to run away, another spear missed, but Como, he gets a pretty cool play, because once he uses illusions, he kills off his bug, but then also sends them onto the Mars. Mars had blink off cooldown in like 3 seconds, I believe, at some point, maybe 4. And if he didn't put the illusions onto him, he would have just blinked in, speared him, and killed him off. So nice little defensive play from Como to retreat a little bit more. But overall, getting Ivy to move that far down the map was a pretty good trade. But now there's no metamorphosis. Ivy has to make moves happen.
That's the name of the game here. As you can see, they're gonna try to go and cut the wave, but they can just rotate now. They can go take that outpost, which is very, very valuable, and perhaps, you know, put more pressure on that tier 2 top. So pretty valuable moves coming out from the side of Ivy.
Yeah, it's all of a product, because I think Ivy still are reacting quite a lot. In this type of game, they could quite easily move to an area and go, we're going to hit this tier 3 to force you back. Because if they don't play with that kind of aggro style, Terrorblade and, you know, Void Spirit, they're just going to keep skipping your waves like we're seeing now. Chicken Fighters currently have 2 waves out of 3 in their favor for the majority of the time. Era does get picked off because of it. Yeah. But right now, we need to see Ivy kind of move with a bit more conviction, where, like you see here, the minimap, the frantic lines, it's like, guys, we need to flush them out of the map, close down the map, and take our fight. Because with the type of lead that they have through kind of timings, they're not playing with the, you have no resources, we're going to make this 5k lead a 10k lead. Because they're playing as a 5, moving in like one line, it is quite easy for Chicken Fighters to jump around that and get them going. Like you see top lane, right? Void Spirit pushing out top. Bot lane, Terrorblade there. Like, Chicken Fighters are always ready to kind of move around this death ball of Ivy. And unfortunately, yeah, Ivy, they're getting the couple kills, but like they're not getting that haha, gotcha kill, you know?
Yeah, they're finding a lot of supports who are putting their bodies in positions that, you know, are where we'd expect them to be, whether they're trying to ward or trying to make sure that they're breaking smokes or whatnot. So, you know, hats off to the side of Chicken Fighters for having those supports in those positions. But yeah, you can see the wall is steadily growing though, because they're pushing out all their waves. They're trying to just choke them out. The next part is, you know, how do they find these opportune kills? How do they make these things happen? Because low skill's gonna take that bottom tower again, opening up the map a little bit more. That plus 25% death pact, and then the plus 3 burning barrage arrows. So like he's really starting to get up there. He's got the Scotty queued up. Still a couple more seconds left on this Aegis. They do have to be a little bit careful because I'm sure they're timing it over on the side of Chicken Fighters.
They're coming.
They are indeed. Low skill.
7 seconds on Aegis.
Are they going to time it just right? Jump forward. But that damage now 2, 1. There goes the Aegis, and there goes low skill. Beautiful timing coming out from Chicken Fighters.
The real question, would that have happened if the timer wasn't, you know, visual? Remember the patch that added the timer for everyone?
I feel like a lot of players
you're
at this
time it
point,
and do the match yourself.
I don't have a general idea at this level.
But to the literal second, like, of course, again, that was amazing from Chicken Fighters to just, you know, click on the Aegis and kill him with it. But like, oh, you have to respect the fact that your enemy can see that timer, right? Like,
True.
Before that, you can play like that. But the fact that you're playing with the timer that low, it's like, they're going to make this jump. They're going to see it themselves. So yeah, it's great from Chicken Fighters. And unfortunately for low skill, just probably not respecting the fact that timer is a global thing that everyone sees nowadays. But that was cool. I think that's the first time I've seen it that cleanly done, you know, like.
Oh, we still have the Clank sitting top of the net worth, 15k. Terrorblade not far behind though, 13. And we're getting closer and closer to that Scotty timing. A little bit further off though from Clanks.
They've done a really good job at just making sure that the waves are pushed out. Like, I've been focusing on the mini quite a lot in this game, and it never feels like Ivy has more than one wave pushing cleanly into Chicken Fighter's side. So every time they make a move, it's like them running into the fog.
It's a response, like
they might get a pickoff here.
I mean, this is a good pickoff. This is the kind of pickoff they want. Even go when they use the Fiend script just to ensure that he can't get away. So of course, Supreme just having a difficult game, but it is allowing for his Terrorblade to have that breathing room, to have that space.
I'd absolutely love to be in the comms of Chicken Fighters right now. Like, basically, it's just every death, it's don't worry, push side lane. You die again, don't worry, just push this lane. You die again, don't worry guys, we got this lane. You know, they're not really saying much other than just push. And now we get to see the Skelly boys hit bot lane. Look at them. Ooh, doesn't have the taunt, they're not taunting. Still.
They're getting the job done though. You know,
skip.
It ain't much, but it's honest work. But we have the Scotty completed now for the TB, so yeah, no taunt.
Oh, he has no taunt at all. To be fair, Valve did absolutely demolish the taunts because they made it like some 60-second cooldown or something. Or it was like 2x30 or something.
Was that one that you had to unlock in the battle pass? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, I think it was. It's like around 100 or 200. Yeah, it was the coffin meme or something.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
In my day, you could buy taunts.
Well, we could also use them back in my day.
Yeah.
Can't use them now.
None of this crazy cooldowns. Looks like we're gonna have an engagement, and look at that. Taunts. Oh no, the Viper's still alive. That does have that BKB, but the Scotty damage coming out, pushing back around. Mobay is just gonna barely make it through here. Yeah, he's still alive as they turn right back around. Zippe taking so much damage. That is gonna be the first time he falls. Bengen sitting very low. The Thunder coming out from Coma though. Is they gonna turn right back around? It's not looking good for Max. Max is going to fall. Sleep getting placed out. They'll end up losing Bengen. As the rest of the side of Ivy, they are going to retreat. Not having that there, but the find here. Can they get the clinks? Good cookie hop forward, the silence. You've got so much to draw back in. That's going to be a dead low skill. That's going to be a longer time until he can get that Scotty after that engagement.
Ooh. I was so close to killing the Viper. Really nice arena to cut off the final right clicks out of flying on it.
Zippe?
Caught a couple of them.
Zippe wants his Viper so bad. Zippe? All right, and now, oh my God, and now Supreme following him that, oh God. Ooh. That's, that was questionable.
That was worth it. Well, no, it's worth it. Don't worry, it's all good, it's all good. That's a lot of the cliche mental damage, yada, 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 you know, Viper, I'm in my base, how am I dying?
Look at the damage from Bay. Oh dear.
Poor guy.
Serious mental damage, that's for sure, yeah. All right. Well, we have another jump over on the side here, but it looks like they're just going to back off. Thought they might be doing something to Cube.
But now you can see the game's kind of becoming this awkward moment where Ivy, they've been punished pretty much the last 13 minutes through a really beautiful split push game of Chicken Fighters. Now they're like, wait, if they can jump us, they can kill us. Because before, Ivy had that kind of the aura of confidence that we could play anywhere, and if they jump us, they don't have the items or damage to really kill us. So we can just play a little bit more loose, And now, because we've kind of evolved into the mid game, where now Chicken Fighters, if they have that Wraith King, Blink Stun, into Monomer Kiss, into Void Spirit, heroes like Viper, Mars, these cores that are slightly tankier, without the BKB being activated, they are going to be put to this awkward amount of HP, like 30%, that they have to retreat from the engagement. So yeah, Chicken Fighters just identify that, get that quick jump, and have kind of put themselves in this position now where they can do whatever they want, really, if they play under vision, if they make the jump. And Ivy, you can kind of feel the desperation a little bit now, because it's like, we should be winning these fights, we should have been doing this, and we are going to finally see like a true clash of maybe Ivy getting that initiation, getting that jump.
Yeah, you can see that Max is trying to throw his body forward, just trying to get any information. They're actually picking up a gem on top of everything else. They want to be able to control the map even further, get rid of this vision, make them less comfortable moving around the map. Like you said, that's a big part of them getting a good initiation, is having the vision and knowing exactly what they're hopping into.
Yeah, Chicken Fighters, they've often just been like 4 or 5 heroes hugging each other, just kind of idly standing around. Like, not when they were split pushing, but when they're together, they hug a ward and they hug it really nicely. And I think just the way that Zibe has been playing so far, on Mars, on Wraith King, like, he's just awkwardly disrupting the positioning of the backline, that they're not able to clean in, A-click their way through the fight, get a clean grip off. Like this is a Wraith King jumping in, dusting the clinks, halberding him, preventing him from damaging, and just soak up a lot of the damage.
Keep it. Nice force staff forward. Smiles. Nightmare comes out, buys just a little bit more time. It's not looking good, though. They still end up losing the Weaver. It's a good Gleipnir being tossed out. They'll follow up with some of these kisses, but still doing quite enough here. As they do manage to find low skill over on the side. Mobe trying to get some of these clicks up over onto Zibe, but he's fairly tanky. They'll drop the archers, get a little bit more damage. That's going to be the first time Wraith King is taken down. But over on the back lines, they've left Max all alone, so he will indeed pop. The BKB was popped over onto Coma. Low skill backing off here. Zibe on his second life. The Sunder's coming out just to refresh Coma here, make sure he's nice and healthy. And Kipe is just gonna continue to try to cut. Low skill though, he wanders over in this area, has to be so careful. They have the vision, they're just chipping through him. This is looking so bad. They'll end up losing the clinks. Down for 70-something seconds. Roche is up, he's got a shard. They've got to be very unhappy about this over on the side of Ivy.
Yeah, that was absolutely rough, and I was just mentioning how Zibe done a really good job at parting up Ivy and making them feel uncomfortable. That fight was the perfect example once again, right? It's Chicken Fighters jumping into the river, forcing them to take this fight, and then you have Wraith King doing a second Blink Dagger onto kind of like the Clink's Viper area. I think we're going to see a highlight here. So yeah, Zibe starts the fight going on to Weaver, Supreme beautifully following up, and at this point you've now got 3 heroes in the river, 1 dies, Clink's on the high ground, and then I think Wraith King in a second, he'll blink again past them, and he kind of just forces the cores to retreat up the high ground, leaving Max by himself in the river, leaving Bane by himself in the river, and that alone gives enough time to cancel off the grip, get a BKB off. Like, if there was the Clink's and Viper ready with Bane, Terrorblade for sure dies there, they probably win the fight, but just that brief moment of hesitation, that thought of retreat, allowed them to kind of survive that beautiful grip from Bane. But again, no follow-up, and because of this, ages for Chicken Fighters, high ground for Chicken Fighters. Quite a struggle, and the lead finally goes in the way of Chicken Fighters.
It's a lot of Chicken Fighters. But yeah, I was just about to mention the gem.
I'm a big fan of chickens.
The gem, they lost it. Vincento picked it up earlier, and then they lost it in that fight, and I think Lowskill wasn't prepared for that too, because then he ended up getting caught after the main fight had finished up, because he just wandered a little bit too close, and they had that vision. So it's a lot of good things going for the side of Chicken Fighters, including, being able to kind of reclaim the map even further. It's just never a bad thing. A little bit of silent. Gleipnir gets dropped down. They're going to try to find this opening, get the spear off, and they'll just melt Supreme. They'll turn their attention though now over onto the Wraith King. He's coming back up for the second time. They have plenty of damage though, so Zibe not looking too good. He's just going to try to get some of these spells off. Tried to get a little bit of body blocking, but Zibe finally will fall. So they do manage to get the hit off over onto 2 on the side of Chicken Fighters. They're still hunting. Low skill. Again, they have the creep there. Look at this damage coming out. They've got to go get their hands on him again as Era does creep over here, does have that Ghost Scepter. Oh, but the spear coming out from Max, from downtown, through the trees, landed over onto Grandma here. And we'll be able to just get the kick-up off, but not going to be quite enough damage to take down Max.
Oh, what a beautiful Gleipnir. They were holding hands, singing their merry TP tunes, and then they just, one of them died. Yeah.
What does a TP tune sound like, Tay?
It's like elevator music. I had the option of say elevator music or sing, and luckily
my brain
did not do the sing option. It's been a long time since I cast. Can't whip out the big old pipes yet, you know? That's maybe, you know,
get a warm them up, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
We have a sheep stick picked up now on the Weaver, so Ivy picking up some more items to help them solidify this, but they have to figure out how do they crack this high ground now? Like, how do they, you know, it feels like consistently, like you said, they have to push out these waves. There's always somebody who's forcing, and now, of course, with that Ag's shard picked up on the Mars, that'll help a bit to be able to shove the lanes, but
I think what just happened in that previous fight is what Ivy kind of needs, right? Is that the constant aggression of Chicken Fighters can also be their undoing. Because, you know, you had Zibe jump in, but instantly he was gripped. Void Spirit jumped in, he was then stunned up as well. And like you mentioned, the Weave with the Hex. If Ivy are ready for that initiation, you kind of push that to a side, and then they use the Clinks, the Viper together on whoever gets speared by Mars. They should be able to easily blow up here because double range support core, with the Dragon Lance, all this attack range, like they should be able to get the damage off. They just struggle to do it in these bigger fights. And as Chicken Fighters make this to kind of do this march down mid lane, if they play this poorly or if they get surprised by the Hex or a grip, like I said, they can easily die. No, the Viper getting the Ags as well. So this is a pretty exciting fight.
Okay, nice force staff forward. They need to follow up. The Zibe's getting kited very badly. So their first line of defense, or rather aggression from the side Chicken Fighters, is thrown down. There's going to be the sheep that we talked about. Cookie up downwards, though, with the stun, though, into place. Thunder comes up from Coma. Going to try to protect them a little bit longer. Supreme, they drop the arena. They'll find a kill over here onto the side. They're still chasing out this Terrorblade. All right, that's going to be the Aegis. It goes down, but they'll end up losing Max here because they did have that round. And then Vincenzo next to fall. Long-range kisses getting tossed back. They still have, you know, the Thunder's going to be up in a couple seconds. They lost Aegis, but could opt to continue this push with 2 down, and now the arena's out.
And that's kind of what Ivy needed. They needed that style of aggression from Chicken Fighters to get, you know, a pretty good-looking fight. But fighting into the Aegis, unfortunately, like if there wasn't an Aegis there, that's Terrorblade dead. That's them getting the key kills. They're probably bombing it down mid right now. Pretty happy, but Ivy, they shouldn't be too disheartened. Like, they know that they could have won that fight without an Aegis. So as long as they make the moves, get the waves pushed out, be ready for that Roshan contest. Like, Bane, he's hitting some big grips right now. Like, to stop Bane gripping, you're relying pretty much on Void Spirit, Astral stepping in with then the Pulse Silence, or maybe Wraith King or Snapfire being in position to blink stun, right? So it is it's not like the cleanest way to stop him, outside of probably Void Spirit, but yeah, this is Ivy. Yeah, pretty okay. Not too bad right now from them.
Supreme's hit the point of having to go and buy himself an Aeon disc. Never feels super great when you have to pick that up as a core. Sometimes necessary, and we have the Silver's Edge completed again for the TB. But they did pick up a gem, or rather, no, they got their gem back over the side of Ivy, and then I believe Snapfire picked up a gem for the side of Chicken Fighters because they were finding it very valuable, obviously.
Yeah, this is good. Gems are pretty important nowadays. Honestly, I like seeing an earlier gem. And as soon as you get like a 20-minute lead, you grab a gem, you use your courier, you quickly get the free D wards, and it's hard for your opponent to play. But that's more like your draft enables it type of thing. But at this point in the game, have the gem, control the quarter of the map you're playing in, and just make sure there's no sort of like lingering ward, because there's so many ward spots nowadays that unless you're bringing out 4 or 5 sentries, you're probably not clearing out the entire jungle. And Chicken Fighters, they just want to continue trying to get down to getting a Rex. They are hungry to try and actually get a clear advantage in this game because it is incredibly even, and whoever gets the jump or gets the better reinitiation will probably come out ahead in these fights.
Yeah, we saw in the previous fight when they were over on high ground that the reincarnation scepter, very, very helpful. And it actually enabled them to get one of the kills, I believe, after they were slain. Coming out here on the Wraith King, so, you know, a little bit of, I don't want to say insurance policy, but I'm not sure what the right phrase is, like collateral damage, I guess?
It allows for them to do a whoopsie and then still maybe get a win.
Yes, that is the technical.
There we go. I got you, Moxie.
Thank you.
I'm making it Twitch chat friendly, you know.
Excellent, yes.
It's whoopsie whoopsie. They're initiating
okay,
now.
the blink out here. That does reveal that Mobai and Max nearby. Loskill's just going to cut through some of these illusions. And they just continue
Homer's so annoying. He's literally just constantly sending an illusion to tower. He's playing with his team, and like Ivy are moving as 5, right? They have to be 5.
Oh, they do manage to get this pin off over onto Scream, but follow up with the Hex. A lot of damage over onto Zibby. Zibby probably going to go down for the first time, but over on the back, they're going to end up losing Max. Do have buyback available. That pops the disc, though, over on Supreme. They do have a little bit of time where they could try jump in. And yeah, the Fire Shield over on the Ogre definitely, you know, proving value as they just continue. Already got that Viper Strike out, and you can see Mobai just trying to clear out. A lot of damage here again, but there's the BKB coming out here from Loskill to put out a decent amount of damage over onto Zibby. They do have to remember that there is the reincarnation. They'll come back out again. So we'll take him down for the second time, and he's reincarnated. He's got himself his little Wraith himself. So we'll put a little bit more damage over onto Mobai, and that is, of course, you know, Snapfire Kiss is getting dropped. Fall with the Gleep near these long distance hit with the burning arrows. Definitely difficult for them to stay in toe-to-toe here.
Yeah, Ivy not able to enter this fight with a clean initiation once again, which just allowed Chicken Fighters to, you know, reset. Again, Era, he played the Rubik in game 1, the Snapfire now in game 2, repositioning spells in his toolkit, and he's using them really well just to make sure that they don't get that, haha, we jump, we got the kill, make the play. It's like, they jump, you reset, you go again. And it is allowing Chicken Fighters to constantly be in a somewhat winning position in most of these fights. And I think Koma, the way that he's playing this Terrorblade is so annoying, because every time we see 5 heroes, there's always an illusion running down the lane, chipping away at a tower, chipping away at a range Rax, and it makes Ivy feel uncomfortable that you can't be out of your base for too long because you're suddenly going to be losing a free Rax to literally one illusion. And, you know, a couple K gold here and there for illusions fed, it happens. It's a product, but the amount of pushing and the amount of just annoyance that Terrorblade is providing is, again, why the hero is very good if you get to the point of having items. Again, currently, and kind of team's perception of the hero and stuff.
Jump forward immediately, but Loskill with that BKB protecting himself. Arrow with Ghost Scepter trying to buy just a little bit more time as they do go and they drop the arena. Supreme getting pinned over to the side of the wall. Arrow's going to fall. So that's set up over onto Supreme, and now Koma joining into the fight, though. They're going to try to get the damage off over onto Loskill. He's been stunned up. He's some assistance. Supreme, he's still alive. They get the taunt off. They're going to be able to get it. Yes, they take down Loskill, but they'll end up losing. Bengen, who's going to immediately buy back, teleport over here to this outpost. Max trying to teleport away. Arrow looks like he doesn't quite know. That Scatter Blast did have a good idea, but now Roche is up too. Kupe. Vincento not looking too healthy here. Does try to escape, does try to get his spells off, does have that glimmer, but they've got the vision. And that's a dead Bane. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them march into that pit.
Yeah, this is a completely free Roshan, because Ivy, they were the ones making the, if we get a pick off now, and then we go to Roshan, maybe we can try and sneak it away because we got that kill first. Instantly were punished from it. They didn't have the damage. Chicken Fighters, they get the kills, they get Roshan. This should now finally lead to a real Rax falling. A single range Rax doesn't really count, but yeah, this is just Chicken Fighters having a set of time. And Koma, he went for the Swift Blink that we see, you know, Terrorblades pick up at the later stage of their builds. He's super mobile. As long as Wraith King or Void Spirit initiates the fight, Koma will always be able to get himself into the correct area of the map to then unlock his damage and get the right clicks flowing.
He's also got himself the Aghanim Scepter pickup here as well from the Roche. You have to be very mindful of that. Step forward, try to make some moves over onto Cubit, but Supreme again, dodging forward. Nice force forward again, Max. Okay, the pin over on 2 here. Okay, dishing out the damage. They have a refresher on top of this if they need to. The pin over to the wall. All right, they'll be able to take down once. Going back in here. Can they do it a second time? They'll be taking so much damage again. He should be right back up, but Supreme.
They've just been megas. They've lost their entire base.
They were distracted by the 2. The gems littering on the ground here.
And that was the name of the game. Just distract for a long time, and Coma plays for, one clear understanding. And it is really nice to see. I think Chicken Fighters, no matter what variation of team that they played in, within this kind of like Division 2 of DPC, they've always consistently been ahead of most teams for understanding of like what they're meant to be doing in the map, in the game, and how quickly Coma has kind of entered the team. Even Bengen, and kind of fit into that kind of system. It does show that they have good systems, and yeah, it's going well. Ivy right now, this is their Hail Mary. They buy that 44-minute, 22-second deso, and they're trying to get straight to the Ancient.
I mean, they've got buyback available on both of these heroes, too. They have to be very careful here. Right? The BKB coming out again. Coma's just a lot of damage. Okay, that's going to be just getting popped with the buyback now. Zibe jumping forward. Get the little bit of the save off. The break cookie hop going forward. They get the arena, but Max is just getting shredded by the damage coming out from Terrorblade and the Scotty. Long range kisses coming in hot over into Mobe. It's gonna have to BKB TP out. Is now low skill. Okay, they'll go. They'll try to put some more damage over here onto Zibit. They do have to be careful though. The rest of the team is on their way, and that is of course just the reincarnation. So low skill gonna hightail it out of there. As the rest of the team, they're up over on the side of Chicken Fighters. They're gonna go back to farming. They're gonna start pushing out waves. And Ivy's got to be careful. And again, we see that Rapier being queued up for a second time in this series. This time I think it'll hit a little bit harder than the Ember game in the first one, but it's going to be enough.
You'd hope so, but it was an A for effort. Ivy, they bomb it down mid. Maybe if there weren't buybacks, but realistically, they're not going to have bought out all their items and be jolly. So Ivy aren't able to suddenly capitalize on this moment of relaxation from Chicken Fighters. And now they get to run down mid.
Yeah, I think I'm concerned because they do have buyback available over on the Mars if necessary, but he's not going to have the arena up for another couple seconds, or the refresher, so they have to play this very carefully. Yeah, like the center play immediately over onto Mobai. And turn back around with the Hex. They're going to try to punish them for diving a bit deep here, but they have so many creeps that they have to deal with. They have plenty of heroes that they have to deal with too. Yeah, look at this low skills trying. Can he pop Coma? Can they get off enough damage in time? It's not looking like quite enough. Very, very close though here.
Yeah, now they're just going to reset, wait for the next metamorphosis, keep them in their base, and Ivy, they have kind of to make the choice. It's like we either push out a wave now and try and go for that smoke into no meta, give it our valiant effort. Of course, the TB does have ag, so you can have like a mini entry into the fight with the fear into mini metamorphosis. But yeah, I think we're seeing this from Ivy now. They are grouping up in mid lane. They are going to try and make that move happen. But again, they're into megas without innate wave clearing heroes. So it's a little bit of a struggle.
Losco does need to be careful. He's walking into a lot of people up here. That taunt going in. The follow-up though. Mobai's here though. Get the break off again over on Suzuki. Does have the reincarnation back up again. The blink forward again, like we talked about on this Terrorblade. And that fear over onto Mobai. He does have to go pop that BKB. As they go and they drop the arena. Coma sitting very low though. Follow up here. Zibe is gonna just get clicked down. Does have the reincarnation like we talked about. Over the back line, so Supreme getting the taunt up over onto Mobai. Be able to find that kill. Harris Max with the BKB. He's realized this is not looking super great. They'll try to go. They'll keep low skill alive a little bit longer. Good spear. And in fact, Max, he is going to stick around. Coma wants to get back into this fight. Zebe finally falling here. Supreme with the Aeon Disc. Low skill. He's still alive. But now they'll be able to finally get the kill. Triple kill now for Supreme.
Meanwhile, in the base, you both got Bane and Weaver, trying to desperately.
They're trying to do whatever they can. But yeah, look at this. Man, the buybacks during all of that. Whew.
Yeah, you got to do it there. You saw how Terrorblade, he kind of tentatively held his buyback for a little bit. He was like, you boys are kind of doing it. You don't really need. And then he was like, wait a second. If we somehow lose this, it's going to be that awkward mass buyback situation. So they buy back. They keep it safe.
Look at Vicente. He's like, I don't want to deal with the solution. Just nightmares some throws out there.
I mean, it's as though you play. I don't know how often you play Bane, but when you're behind on Bane and you have these,
so bad.
beefy illusions, even heroes running at you.
Yeah, you're just like, I'll let
rough.
someone else deal with this. I don't want to deal with this right now.
Nightmare and walk away. Like, yep, that's me done. Bye bye now. Cheerio.
It's like anything like that, like Skywrath too. Like these heroes that you're just like, oh no.
In this game. Oh, how sad would that be? Being
yeah.
There's some heroes that really don't enjoy the late game unless you, of course, have an abundance of items and you can, play your little mini games. But this is, Ivy falling to the fact that they're just against mega creeps. Like, it was a nice move they made, nice little proactive move, but when you're against megas, it's super hard to make these moves and actually come out ahead.
I mean, they're hanging in there. This is definitely a better game than game number 1. But it is
difficult. For sure. Like in regards to, it's better in the fact that they had moments of aggression, but it kind of has the same underlying theme of just like getting to a point of strength and converting that into a lead with insurance, right? Like where they can lose a fight but still take another fight. So far, we've seen like Ivy have like that 5k lead. They lose one fight or they get split pushed for 15 minutes, and then suddenly they can't fight ever again, right? So I think they have shown something more in this game, but it is clearly that quite evident that Chicken Fighters is a very seasoned team. They have kind of seen through the strategy of Ivy and just beautifully played around it with split push, with absorbing damage with the Wraith King and the Void Spirit. So yeah, I think it's commendable stuff, but they're gonna have to really kind of soak in and watch these replays and find the moments where a smoke would have won this fight, or a TP here and a move across the map there would have allowed them to unlock the game even more.
I feel like that's a very common thing that we see in some of the less experienced teams, where they have the situation where they'll get a little bit of a lead, but they just can't seem to quite figure out how do we capitalize off of this? How do we start to close the gap? Like the couple alliances ago, right? I think back when it was like.
Sorry, there's been about 17 alliances.
There's been quite a few now, but like the former Liquid Squad or whatever, however you want to go with it. But I remember like they would get these great starts up, but they had a lot of difficulty just closing out games, and that is something that it comes with time, with practice and playing against some of these more seasoned teams who have a better idea. And again, a little bit different with the patch too. Things move just a bit differently, but they're on the hunt now. They've smoked up. Smoke on smoke action. Gento. Okay, the jump forward immediately over onto the Bane, but he's able to stay alive just a little bit longer. He's got to survive long enough for this Viper to actually show up, and they do, and they get a beautiful arena over on the back end. They'll get the 2 supports. They're going to try to do some damage over on Tacoma. And now it looks like Mobai, he is left alone on his own little island here. He needs some sort of assistance. Get forced out, though. Is it going to be enough as he does get slowed down? There's so much damage. It's going to be another one just coming out here with this arena. Supreme getting pinned over to the wall with the Gleep there. Look at the damage coming out. They do have that Rapier online, but just not quite enough as they're going to end up losing Kippy too. Oh, this is looking not good at all. Max will be the next one to fall. Max does have the buyback. No other arenas, though, at this point. Look at this. Chicken Fighters just running down the mid lane here, realizing there's not a lot of buybacks available. They're just going to launch in Zippe, get in there, hit the buildings, but it's too late. Chicken Fighters will secure themselves this victory.
Yeah, really nice stuff. This is, again, I said it during the cast, but it's testament to, I think, understanding strategies and being able to kind of build your lineup and kind of get your timings online